it's me, Renee. I'm back. So, if I say Kentucky librarians riding on or horses, 1930s, you might immediately think the giver of the Giver of Stars by Jordan Moyes. This is my fun little visualization of the cover. Well, one of the covers. But it actually also applies to The Bookwoman of Charlton Creek by Michelle Richardson. So, this is going to be my review / debate on them both. So, The Bookwoman of Charlton Creek came out last spring, like I think last May. I'll give the exact dates in doobly-doo. And The Giver of Stars came out last fall. So they both came out last year, but one came before the other. Yeah, so this one is naturally the most famous one, Jojo Moyes, because she's so famous because of her famous series, a whole half year. Isn't that what it's called? Yeah, you know that series that she wrote, and that became a movie and all that stuff, really. And then Michelle Richardson, she's not really that famous, but she still has some books under her belt. So, yeah. There's actually some controversy between these two. So I didn't actually know it, but at first I just read this one, loved it, and had like this on my TBR because I really loved reading about these librarians on horses in rural Kentucky. It was just such a fun setting, and I really loved it. And then after I finished The Giver of Stars, I quickly googled to see if there were any other books on the subject. I found some other books. I even made a Goodreads list for it because Goodreads list, it's good to have released now and then. I'll link that in doobly-doo. And but I didn't really get to this before like I read this actually in like August. Yeah, in August. So it took some time. Like I read this last fall, and then I read this last August. Not last August. This August. So I've read them both, but with some time between them. But yeah, while reading this, usually when I read a book, or often when I read a book, I might like look up the author. I might maybe see if there's any fun reviews on it and stuff. Sorry. And I found that this book, as I said, actually has some controversy. Controversy. It's controversial around it. So, Michelle Richardson, she actually tried to sue Jojo Moyes because she claimed that Jojo Moyes had plagiarized her because there's parts of the book that are similar. So, of course, this made me extra curious on the differences and similarities between the two, and also of this book, The Bookwoman of Charlton Creek, because this woman was like supposedly supposed to be the original book. I had that in mind while reading this book, and honestly, I can't really say they're that similar, really. So, The Giver of Stars, if you don't know it, it's about a woman from England who moves to Kentucky with her new husband. She hasn't really known him that long, but yeah, she fell in love quickly. They moved to Kentucky, where he's from. He's rich. She's from a noble family. Noble. Yeah, I would say it's a noble family in England. And she hasn't really had much luck earlier in her love life, or like life in general. Really, she hasn't really found herself. And after moving to Kentucky, she kind of finds herself through this librarian job. but there's also aspects this book. So this book has aspects of like feminism, like there's people who say like, no, women can't be librarians. Women have to be only only females, only wives. They can't work outside of the house because no, because old time fashionable. Also, like there's also people who say like it's unchristian, etc., etc. So there's that's against it. Like against it, like that's a sort of conflict in the book. And then soon you realize that's the marriage that she's in. So let's say, yeah, Alice. The marriage that Alice is in is quite not as good as they hoped she would be. It's very cold. They don't really communicate that much, and it's just far from what it was in the beginning when they first met. So that's also an issue. And of course it's a bit like she's American. She's English. They're American, so there's like a culture clash now and then. So there's stuff that's conflicting. Well, that makes conflict in the book. And then also, also I'd say like in addition to Alice's story, because you can't think that it's her story, because it's her story that's written on the summary on the back of the book. But I would say actually that the Game of Stars actually has like several protagonists. Like I would say both Alice, but also the other librarians. You get to know them quite well, and you have some point of view sometimes from the other people as well. So it's not. I wouldn't say it's simply Alice's story. It's all of the stories in a way. I would say. And it's a story of the friendship between the librarians, between other librarians' personal life. There's a African American librarian who has struggles, as she would, sadly. And then you also have a librarian that's uh, she's older. She's like I think she's like 38, 45, like in an older, like in that time at least, in an older aspect of life. And she has a boyfriend. And can have a boyfriend back in those times. You either have to be single or married. You can't just have a boyfriend that you love and stuff. And her boyfriend is black. No, I can't remember exactly black. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, her boyfriend is like from a royal family of her family, and then she's like very unfeminine. So it's like, oh my god, you can't do what you do. So it's like just a like whole persona of like outcastness, and a lot of people don't really tolerate or like her because of the way she behaves, even though she's just doing her stuff. The people in those days couldn't really fathom that women could do stuff that boys could, that we could uh, fight for ourselves, fight our own battles, be independent, etc., etc. Now I'm really, I still don't remember her name. I'll write it in doobly. I said I'll write it in doobly. But yeah, this one is like I would say like it's about the the community with the librarians, but also like their own personal lives and their struggles. And it's good. It has like some. I would say it's good. It's good. Yeah, it's good, and it has kind of some elements of like happy-go-lucky now and then. And then book of Total Quick, the bookwoman of Total Quick. So this one is the story of Bluette or Cutter. Sorry, Custer Carter. She's actually a blue woman, which actually means that exactly. Her skin is blue, light blue. So this actually condition is actually based on real life. It's not like it's not science fiction. It's actually true. There are actually some people who lived in the States, and some people actually lived in France who have like blue skin. That most of the story they don't really know why it is, and then during the story they like understand, oh, it's something to do with their blood, and they actually understand that they have like similar-ish blood things to some people in Alaska, and yeah. But yeah, because her skin is blue, she gets discriminated, as you would in those times. So she's very much discriminated against, and yeah, at this point in the story, well, in this universe, she's the only blue person left, except her dad. No one else in the world are left, or not that I know, like the rest of her family is dead, and she doesn't really. It's not really that well known, so it's kind of assumed that she's the only one left, except her dad. So her and her dad is the only ones left. And yeah, so and yeah, and so Cassie, she's 19. So sorry, I didn't say it, but yeah, she's 19. Alice is 28. So the ages are quite different here. They're both young, but Cassie is definitely much younger. And this one focuses actually much more on her. Like it's much more clear that it's her story. It's not all the librarians' story. It's her story. You get some background on the other librarians, but it's not that much, and it's just the point of view of Cassie. And also, a lot of this story I would say like revolves actually around like Cassie's journey to accepting herself, because a lot of the journey she's like, a lot of the book she's like, my God, I'm so ugly. No one thinks I'm beautiful, and she's ostracized, and etc. etc. And like I suppose a lot of, like in the beginning it's just like it is what it is. I mean, she's quite happy with being herself. She's kind of settled with that she has to stay by herself her whole life. She doesn't really want to stay with anyone because there's no other blue people in the world. So why would she marry some people who won't respect her, etc. etc. And yeah, so her dad thus wanted to marry, the thus wanted to marry, and he in the beginning of the book. This is the beginning, so it's not a spoiler. He gives like he tells people that if you marry my daughter, you get the farm and like some money, and the farm that they live on is quite big, so that's good. Like in those days, you kind of want more land and stuff. So a lot of people come and try to get her to marry them. Like it's like a meeting, it's like a ritual of like, should I marry him or shouldn't I and stuff. But a lot of them, most of them, just come and then leave because they, of course, no money in the world will make them marry a blue woman. No, 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 no. Predators, idiots, racists. So yeah, and in the end, after a while, there was one that ends up marrying her. She's as I said, she's 19. He's like 70, 80, so he's quite old, and he's also actually a bit of a ruffian. His family has like a reputation for like being very prejudiced against blue people and like against people in general. So yeah, she's very against marrying him, but her dad forces her to marry him because he's so rich and stuff, well, quite rich, like in farm ways. And lo and behold, on their marriage night, he dies, like in the marriage bed. Like he forces himself on her, and then during that, or kind of after that, he has a heart attack and he dies. So yeah, that marriage is not really long at all. And after that, she goes back to live with her dad, and then after that, it's the story of her and her dad against the world in a way. And actually, pretty soon, there's okay. So they live outside a small town. So the settings of this both are in Kentucky, but this one is closer to a big city, while this one is more on the outside really of Kentucky, like more on the rural area really. So that's also another difference. And yeah, in this one, where was I? In this wall. Yeah, so this one like focuses mainly on Percy and like her life with her dad. Her dad is actually a miner, and she's like also like a bit of aspect of like the miner striking and the miner wanting more money and better working conditions and stuff. And so he's a part of the working and he's a part of the he's a part of the labor. No, he's a part of the can't name is tip my tongue. He's a part of the union. He's a part of the union. And there's like some plot line around that. So that's a kind of good plot line. That's not really in this one either. And then and yeah, Cass so friend how like one of the only people in the village who's nice to her is the doctor, but of course there's a catch there because the doctor he wants to study them because they're blue skinned. A long time ago saying no no no, and then also this is not a spoiler, I won't spoil you. But yeah, pretty soon in the pretty early in the book, okay, in the beginning of the book, like this preacher, this priest, keeps on following Blue and says like she has to she has to uh, be she has to do as he pleases. He tries to rape her. He forces tries to force her to tries to hit her. Well, he hits her actually sometimes. He says that she has to take the word of the God. I mean, because okay, so she is Christian, but she's not a part of the church because, of course, the church can't have them because she's colored. So no, you can't go to this church. And she's heard from other people that if you like go to his church, you have like these religious sermons, and it's just so awful environment and stuff. She wants nothing to do with him, nothing at all, and so she often like tries to avoid him. But he just keeps on stalking her and keeps on hitting her and keeps on just being a massive creep, massive prejudice idiot creep. He's just so creepy. And then one day when she's gotten home from no, yeah, when she's sleeping, she hears something in the like around the house, like what's going on. And then she walks down, and then she finds that um discovers that the priest he's tried to set her house on fire. Luckily, her dad was awake. He just come back, so he shot the man and uh, like in the leg, so he didn't kill him, but like still like trying to for self-defense and stuff. They get the doctor over there, and during the next few hours, the priest dies. Now, because even though the priest, everyone, not all people actually like him, he's just perjured and idiot and rude, and he's not really well liked at all. Really, like, some people like him, but a lot of people don't like him. But still, if like this go to tell people like in the police and stuff, like this is what happened, even though it is self-defense, they won't have really a fair trial because they're blue people. So they end up just burying the body in the background, and because of the doctor knowing about this, he kind of has an upper hand now. So after this, Blue or Cassie has to come with him to the hospital to give tests and stuff. So yeah, so a lot of the book after that, that's like very early in the book. So a lot of the book is like her getting tested and like finding out what is wrong with me or like what's the reason why I'm blue and stuff like this. So yeah, so in that also aspect, it's quite different from this book because this book, The Giver of Stars, has no really health aspects. It has some, but it's very minimal, very minimal. It's not really in that way, really. It's not really doctors involved in this one, I'd say. Not really. No, yeah, they both have characters. This was now a bit to what they both have. They both have people in Kentucky, rural Kentucky, whose librarians on horseback uses horses, horseback riding. They both have people who are kind of outsiders in their own different ways in the like central roles, and they both have people who have bad luck in the romance department. And also, they both have like this character that's kind of sneezing, kind of like rapist and stuff. So actually, that's actually kind of where like a part of the controversy is from because the part where it's where this sleazy person is like trying to rape another character seems to be pretty similar. Like I read about it, like in this article, And also like I tried to like understand like what I read. I didn't really feel like it was that similar really. And honestly, at least to me, I feel like there's nothing new under the sun. Under the sun, and both of these books came out in the same year, yeah. But like they came out a few years after, like in 2017, yeah, 17. They came out this article on BuzzFeed about this horseback riding Kentucky librarians. So after that, it's not impossible, implausible that people would write books about it because it's a fun, interesting theme and aspects of history. Really, it's just a fun story and very interesting, intriguing. And so, having two of the books, historical fiction book, coming out the same year based on the same stuff. Claim that one of them is plagiarizing, I feel like it's going a bit too far, honestly. Like, I kind of try to like see some differences and see similarities and stuff like while reading this one, but I felt like there weren't really that many. Yes, there are similarities, yeah, but there aren't really that many. So I felt like it's, this was also a spoiler. So yes, I said this author tried to sue Judy Morris. Kim Michelle Richardson tried to sue Judy Morris, but she ended up not doing it because the judge saying that there weren't really enough evidence, and I kind of agree with that. It's kind of really not enough evidence. They have some similarities, yes, but I would say like the differences are much bigger than the similarities really. But also in other aspects, I would highly recommend this both. I would say that The Giver Stars is much more like happy-go-lucky, more fun. It's not that heavy-hitting, I would say, in a way. Well, this is much more heavy-hitting. It's more like being an outsider, being discriminated against, being different, being not loved, etc., etc. So it kind of hits in a much different way, really. This one gives those feelings in a way, but not so much, really. And yeah, they're both good, interesting books, so you definitely should read them both. And yeah, do I have anything more to say then? Can't really say. Would say I have. Yeah, check them both out. They're good, but they're not plagiarizing of themselves. They're different, but good in their own ways. And yeah, I hope you liked this little rambling, interesting debate review of them both. I just kind of felt like doing a video on like this controversy between those two, and like giving my little 2 cents. And like a lot of people talked about this book. I haven't really seen people talk about much about this book, and I kind of felt like as highlighting this book, the book woman, the book woman Troublesome Quick as well, because I felt like this deserves a bit of attention as well. So yeah, hopefully you'll check this out or the other one, or maybe you won't. Maybe you just feel like it's been an interesting video. Maybe you don't like it at all and you'll just ignore it. That's up to you. And yeah, I hope you have a nice day, evening, night, whatever when you see this. And I'll see you later.